My name is Steve Martin. I serve as a board member for the Mennonite Story and also as a volunteer. So the Mennonite Story presently is located at the St. Jacobs Farmers Market just north of Waterloo. We are just recently have moved here. We just moved here about a little over a year ago. We spent 40 years in downtown St. Jacobs, and now thanks to the Schlegel Group, the owners of the market, and they invited us to come here, and we're really enjoying our time here. So Mennonites were some of the first settlers in Kitchener-Waterloo, our first European settlers, I should say. Came here starting in 1800, settled at the bottom end of Kitchener, and then over the next 20 to 30 years moved north to encompass all of Waterloo and what is today the township of Woolwich. We are just here in the township of Woolwich. My own ancestors came here in the early 1820s and settled on this very land. The cabin that we're in here, the log cabin, was built by Mr. Snyder in 1830 something, just about a mile and a half north of here. He also was my great-great-great-great-grandfather. It was moved here about 20 years ago, and I like to think that he would be proud of it being still in such good condition today. So the Mennonite Story offers numerous different things. Of course, we're open every market day, so any day the market is open, we are open for just simply walk-in times where you can talk to a volunteer and ask questions. We also have a half-hour presentation that we do, which for $7.95 a person can buy a ticket, watch a 15-minute film specifically about the Old Order Mennonites, and then have another 15 to 20-minute question and answer period where they're able to ask any questions they've ever wanted to know about Amish or Mennonites. The setting is in a replica of an Old Order Mennonite meeting house, so we explain the seating arrangements and all those types of things, or whatever else is of interest to them. So those are very catered to that. That's the one product that we offer. We also offer private tours, so if a group of people or students or whatever would want to get together for up to 10 people, they can book, actually more than that, but for $50 minimum price, up to 10 people can book a 1 hour time frame where that is more geared to their personal interests. So it's just them in the group. It can be, you know, if they have specific questions about history, for example, or about faith practices, or wherever they want to go. A lot of people come specifically looking for family histories. They know they have roots in this area, but they don't know where to start. We'll often help them get them started, those types of things. We also do step-on guides for bus tours, where we tour the local area and so on. Those are, in the summer we have wagon tours here that we offer where the Mennonite Story provides the speaking guides for those wagon tours where we drive for about an hour, tractor and wagon out into the countryside and so on. Those are a few of the products that we have. Mennonitestory.com, they can book tickets for the wagon rides. The 1 hour presentation can be booked in the, ahead of time, and that can be any time if they have a set time, and then we try to make sure there's a volunteer that will be here to meet them at the time that they're looking for. The tickets for just the half-hour presentation can be bought on site when they come in. There might be up to half an hour to hour wait, depending, especially in the busy times, or they might be able to walk right in. It just depends. We don't necessarily, in the busy times, we kind of show it every hour on the hour, but in the slower times, we kind of show whenever a group walks in. So those, they don't really have to, that stuff can be just done on a walk-in when they're at the market anyway. We especially students, we have a lot of students that come from the local colleges or the university. I have been very, very impressed with how intriguing students find it and how many questions they have. We love students here. there are lots of misconceptions. You know, if you're getting your information primarily from some of the reality shows that are out there and so on, not saying that everything's wrong in there or that it's all bad, but if that's what you're basing it on, yeah, it's maybe not quite real. Another misconception is that all Mennonites drive horse and buggies. While the film that we have is primarily geared to the Old Order communities, because that's the ones that stick out the most. There are over 30 different types of Mennonites just in this area alone, from very conservative, Orthodox, plain groups to very modern groups, and everything in between. And so another misconception is that all Mennonites are the same. Mennonites do have some core belief systems, all the groups that kind of make them unique in that pattern, but they're very much a part of the broader Christian faith, and would identify primarily first as Christians, as Mennonites or Anabaptists secondarily, just like most other mainline denominations. Of those 30 groups that I mentioned, there are about 7 what we would classify as Old Order groups, and we classify them as Old Order because of their form of worship and the type of worship setting that they would have and so on, would be a little bit more of an Old Order style. Of those 7 groups, 6 of them drive horse and buggies, 1 of them drives cars, but they're black cars. And everyone wonders why black cars. This is a very common question, but very briefly, that group started in 1830, split away from the main Old Order Mennonite group, mainly because they wanted cars and telephones. And in 1930, Henry Ford being the primary car producer, the guy who made the car affordable for the common person. So at that point, to drive a Ford was to drive the car of the simple, the ordinary, the common person. And so rather than insisting that everybody drive a Ford, they just said you can drive your Packard if you wanted, but it's going to be black, just to create uniformity, to create the fact that you're not some people. Even though, yes, everybody recognizes some people have more money, some people have more influence, but within the Mennonite community, having more money or more influence doesn't make you a more important person necessarily, a more better person. It's the idea of all people being equal and having equal importance in their own way and in their own field. And so that is just another way of reminding, for them to remind each other of that fact. I love meeting people. I love meeting people from all over the world. I love meeting young people, seniors, people with questions. I just like talking to people and trying to find out what the subjects are that interest them and then going from there. I learn a lot from this, believe it or not, probably more sometimes than the people that I'm talking to. But I've lived in this area all my life. I literally grew up just a mile from here. And I am a Mennonite. I don't drive horse and buggy, but I do know the culture very well. And so just being able to share that bit of my culture, my history, with people that are coming here that are curious, I just find that extremely fascinating. And I enjoy the challenges of trying to answer the questions in the best way that I can, and even inspiring them to ask more questions. The idea of the Mennonite story is not necessarily to turn people into Mennonites. That's not what we're about. Mennonites as a whole do not believe they are the only way or the only path to God. We don't believe you have to be a Mennonite to know God. However, so what I'm doing here is not necessarily that, but if looking at different cultures and different aspects and the way people do things, I think for myself, when I do that, when I travel and do that, it helps me to be introspective about my own life, to ask questions about where I can improve myself and so on. And I think as we learn to know each other better, it just creates a better place. It makes the world a better place, in my opinion. And so I just see this as our little way of being able to do a wee little bit of that in our corner. Other than that, you know, to those watching this, if you're in the area, if you're a student at Conestoga or any of the local schools or whatever, and this at all intrigues you and you want to find out more about it, and you're out at the market anyway, maybe shopping isn't your thing, but that's what your friends want to do, this is a great place to spend half an hour to an hour. There is a neat little gift shop here, all kinds of goodies, but you know, if you've ever had questions in related to the Protestant Reformation and what happened there and how this all came to be, you know, this is the place to come. We have a good group of guides. I believe at this point all of our guides are Mennonites of some sort, and most of them, some of them are retired history professors or whatever. They know their stuff. They can generally answer your questions, and if they can't, they'll be up front and tell you and try to get you an answer otherwise. So come on out, visit us. We would be just pleased to meet you and learn more about who you are, and yeah.